What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. If you are a first timer, then welcome to the channel. What we do here, guys, is going to change the way that you guys trade in the stock market. You're going to become more profitable, more consistent, but this isn't a magic elevator to the top of that mountain. You're going to have to take the steps. You're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to put in the work, but I will help you get you there, okay? We will get you there to a more profitable, more consistent trader. We're going to start with this watch list. This is the watch list for Tuesday, November 8th. And listen, I put these videos out for you guys for free every single day. I send them out to you guys for free every single day. There is a plethora of learning tools for you guys to help assist you, to help push you in the right direction, to help you become more profitable, more consistent. I've got 300 plus videos on this channel. There's specific playlists set up for beginners, specific playlists for SPY, for specific strategies within this strategy. I go through everything for you guys, but you have to be able to put in the time, put in the effort, put in the work, and learn this stuff and make it so it's like breathing to you. So you look at a chart and you just see it. That's why we're here. That's why I do this stuff. That's why the majority of what I do is free, including these watch lists. The weekly swing watch list. If you're not into day trading, you're into swing trades, I've put out a weekly swing trade watch list for this week, November 7th. And a lot of those plays are still sitting as inside bars and they haven't broken their triggers yet. So make sure you guys go check out that video. In speaking to whatever's free, guys, I have a trading Discord. It's called the Griswold Trading Discord. The link is in the description below. Go join that Discord. Get in there. There's a ton of great information on there. Most of it's free. There is a paid room, okay? So there are a Griswold Gold membership. It's $50 a month, but it gets you a ton of really great stuff that will push you in the right direction. It's got a 1-hour strat course that takes you right from the beginner to the advanced stuff. Okay, so that's located in that private room. I give out top 5 plays. Within this watch list, there are 5 plays that I will pick out and I give to the Griswold Gold members to watch throughout the day. And those top 5 plays are put just towards those people. And you can go through this and find them yourselves, or you can get them as part of that membership. The Strat indicator that I've created is part of that membership. I've got live trading bots in that room. So you guys don't even have to go searching for trades. Okay, those trades are already brought up for you guys. There's a specific SPY room where it'll send out SPY setups for you, and there's another room that sends out plays on QQQ and DIA and Tesla and NEO and CCL, and I think Disney's on there. So there's also that. There's ad-free YouTube videos in there for you guys, for the paying members. Okay, so there's a lot of really great stuff. There's one-on-ones. I can have a one-on-one with you specifically to help push you in that right direction, to answer your questions on a one-on-one on a personal level and help push you in the right direction. So make sure you're going to check that out. All the information is located in the Discord or on my Twitter or down below in the description. We're going to get started on this watch list. The screen that you see in front of you, that's TradingView. If you guys want to use something like this, if you're looking for a platform like this, there's a link in the description below. That link gives you a free 30-day trial to TradingView. No obligations. There is a free version of TradingView, but this link in the description below gives you 30-day access to their subscription-based services to see if that's something that you would like. So go click on that link, and then if you decide to actually purchase that subscription, you'll get up to $30 off of that subscription, but you need to start by clicking on the link in the description below. And the last thing I'm going to touch on here, guys, are the ads. I know the ads suck, and like I said, this stuff I push out for free. Those advertisers are paying for me to push this out to you guys for free. Keeps your money in your pockets. I don't have to put this in some kind of paid version of it. It keeps it free for you guys. So I'm going to, number one, thank you guys in advance and tell you guys that I appreciate you guys in advance for letting these ads roll through, because those ads are what keep this stuff free for you guys. And I love making the videos, and those advertisers pay for my time. And like I said, it keeps your money in your pocket. The other thing I want to say, I've had a few donations come in and a couple super thanks come in. That's that little heart with the $sign. Thank you guys very much for those as well. I appreciate it very, very much, and I'm glad I'm able to help you guys out in some way or another. Okay, let's get started on this list. Number one on the list, guys, NEO. So NEO, I can't remember if I talked about it in the watch list yesterday for November 7th, but I think I feel like I talked about it and I said, well, we had this somewhat of a hammer candle. We would look for a continuation on NEO. Well, we got that continuation. We actually gapped up right through the targets, and then we came and reversed right back down. So what we're left with is a 2 up that finished red. So a 2 candle, you can see the candlestick numbers here are marked out. Okay, the 2s and the 3s and the 1s. That's part of my Strat indicator that I've created, as is the time frame continuity, as are the painted yellow bars and the painted white bars. Those are inside bars and outside bars. So I've basically combined all the Strat indicators into one indicator, including the 50% rule. So a 2 candle is a directional candle, and we only break one side of the previous candle. As you can see here, we've broken only the high side of the previous candle. So when I break one side and I finish in the opposite color, so a 2 up should be green, but we finished red. So there's a couple things here. It gives me higher probability that this is going to trend down the following day. So we can look for puts on this at $10.70, and anytime I'm calling out dollar values or triggers or targets, the numbers are on the right side here, guys. So the yellow line is the trigger at 1070 and the targets are at 1060 and 1045. And normally, if we're going to the downside, the targets or the magnitude would be at the bottom of the wick. Now, we do have one at the top of the wick, and then we would have another one here at the top of the wick as well, because we're filling this open air space. There's no candlestick here, so that's a gap. So in order to fill that gap, we need to hit a magnitude at the top of the candle or a target at the top of the candle to fill that gap. And that's how we mark out our targets on those. So again, on NEO, there's the one thing, the 2 up red. The other thing, we've got really great time frame continuity to the downside outside of the month. So that's telling me there's sellers across the board outside of that monthly, the monthly chart. Okay, so again, we can look for puts at the 1070, and then we've got the 2 targets marked out for you guys. We'll look at SPY here. SPY stayed inside day for a really long time. I think it didn't break out of that until the last hour or hour and a half of trading today. But we've got close to a hammer candle. So a hammer candle is this big body with a wick below. I'd like to see this wick a little longer or the body a little smaller. But in itself, it is basically a hammer candle. So there are 3 types of actionable signals that we really like to look for. One is an inside bar, which you see here. 2 is this hammer candle, which we just talked about. And 3 would be a shooter candle, which you don't see on the screen here, but it would be a inverse hammer. So an upside down hammer, or the big body at the bottom here, and then a long wick to the top. So we have a hammer, we have a 2 up to finish green. I'm going to look for a continuation here on SPY on Tuesday. So we're going to look for this to trigger at $380.57, and we're going to take our first targets at $388.63. We'll move on to IWM. IWM 2 up red, great time frame continuity to the downside right across the board outside of the quarterly. So again, we can look for puts on this at 177.68, and our first target, like we talked about, is just the bottom of the preceding wick. So the next candle where we see the wick available right here. So we're not taking this one because then we have to go through candles. You can. It's not the way I do things. So we're going to look for the bottom of the preceding wick right here, and the next one would be here, which as you can see is marked as pink. That means we're looking for a 2 down on the week. We are currently inside on the week on IWM. We're looking to go 2 down. And as I said earlier, if you go to the weekly swing play video that I have, a lot of the weekly swing plays are still inside bar, including IWM. Okay, so let's move on to Coca-Cola. Guys, you know what? I want to stop for a second. Real quick. Powerball is tonight. 1.9 billion. That's 2.4 billion Canadian. I do have tickets for this. Listen, if you guys comment down below, I'm going to mention this again in the video because some of you might be missing it as you're skipping through. Comment in the section below and make sure you're subscribed. I will share that money with you guys if I win. Okay, but comment, click the like button, and subscribe, and you'll be part of that group. Or you can join the Griswold Gold members. I've also asked or told every single one of those people, If I win, they win, and I want you guys to win as well. So make sure you're subscribed, you're clicking that like button, you're commenting, and we'll put you in for that draw, okay? Not even that draw. We're going to share the money with you guys because I think I can share 2.4 billion Canadian with a bunch of you. Coca-Cola, 2 up, finish green. I do have a shooter candle here, though, so I'm a little bit conflicted. We are also on an inside bar. Are we still inside here? Looks like we just broke. Let me go to this weekly here. This is old, so that should be there. We have broken out of that inside bar. Okay, so I do have a shooter candle here, so there is a little bit of conflict because we are still green, but it is a shooter candle. You know what? We're going to just take Coca-Cola off of here. I'm not sure I want to set you guys up with that. Let's go to Roku. Roku has a double inside bar, and I went back and looked already. The last time Roku had a double inside bar, and we're going to talk about inside bars and double inside bars for that matter. You see these gold highlights? That's a 3-1 setup. That's part of the Griswold Strat indicator. This blue highlight, that shows me a double inside bar. Okay, so let's go way up and see the last time we had this double inside bar was over a year ago. So we're in October of 2021. And here's that double inside bar. And look at this run. We broke, hit target, and even more targets down here. This was a ridiculously good trade on Roku just over a year ago. So these are very rare setups. They're very rare patterns. And we are into a double inside bar. So I always tell newcomers or people that are struggling to just concentrate on one setup, and that's usually the inside bar. So now what we have here, folks, is a double inside bar. So 2 straight days of consolidation. An inside bar or a 1 bar does not break the high and does not break the low of the previous candle. It stays within that range. And now we've done that for 2 straight days. And what we have, if you can follow this hand here, we have this flag, I guess you could call it, forming. And it's a tightening range. And at some point, we're expected to bust out of that. So if you can imagine a spring, if you see these little yellow bars, if you have the Strat indicator, you imagine a spring being tightened or compacted like a jack in the box, like the dun, 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 dun. Those things are compacted, and when it releases, it explodes to one direction or the other, like we saw on the previous double inside bar. So that's what we look for on an inside bar in itself, but now we have 2 straight days of consolidation. We're really going to look for this thing to break out. And again, if I was going to give you guys a top 5, the double inside bars would likely be on there. That's a hint for you guys out there. If you want the full top 5 list, you're going to have to join the Griswold Gold membership to get those. Double inside bar, calls at $50.90, puts at $48.27. The first targets are marked on either side for you guys. If we trend down, we've got full time frame continuity to the downside because this candle represents the daily and the weekly. So if we trend down, we're going to be red right across the board. If we trend up, we're going to have the weekly, the daily, and the hourly still in our favor, which is good enough for me on a day trade. So let's look for that on Roku with that double inside bar. Be fun to watch that one tomorrow. Lucid Group, 2 down, 2 down red. I'm actually going to take Lucid off of here as well. And let's go on to BIDU. BIDU has a 2 up that finished red. And again, great time frame continuity to the downside. So we are going to look for puts here at 84.15. First target is quite good. Great magnitude at 82.25. And then we're just going to mark out the next targets. And again, we talked about having that space to fill the gaps. Those are all the next targets at the top of the wicks. And then your next bottom wick target would be there. Okay? And if you have questions on this, make sure you're commenting down below, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. That's the important part, so you get these videos. And then hit the bell. The bell will send you notifications for when I send out the videos like this one every single day. So CCL, here's another one. I'm going to take this one off the list as well, but you can see we're looking for this to break to the downside. So we can look for a continuation here and possibly going 2 down on the week, which is currently inside bar on the week. So we're looking to break out of that. This would be where we would be looking to do that for the weekly. Let's go to Pfizer. Pfizer 2 up red. So we're going to look for puts on Pfizer. And our trigger is going to be at 46.75. First target marked out at 46.61. And we do, again, time frame continuity all pointing to the downside outside of that quarterly. Ford Motor Company. Okay, so we have 2 actionable signals on Ford Motor Company. Remember we talked about those hammer candles, which we see here. So we have a hammer candle and we have a inside bar. So 2 actionable signals. Time frame continuity outside of the year is all pointing up. Okay, so we can look for calls at 1376. We can look for puts at 1337. One thing I want to point out to you guys, put this in your tool belt. You see this first target is not, it's only a penny. So if we were to look for the next target, we'd have to go all the way up to here, which is quite high. So we're going to manage our trades on a smaller time frame. The thing I want to point out, guys, is, listen, if we open up here, a lot of times what happens is we'll just break through that target like that, and then this thing will reverse back down to the downside, and we'll never see that target again or anything above it. So be very cautious when we don't have great magnitude. You can still play this, but make sure you're watching the play and you're cautious and you're cognizant of how it's working, because like I said, a lot of times we'll hit those targets and that's where it's meant to go to, and that's all you'll see. Okay, so just be aware of that. Next up, we are going to look at SoFi. So SoFi has an inside bar. Time frame to the downside looks really great. We can look for calls at 529, puts at 512 would be the better option there. Cisco has an inside bar, so again, calls we can look for at 44.98, puts at 44.41, and again, time frame pointing to the downside. That's the higher probability play. And listen, all trades that we look at, all strategies that we look at are based off of a probability. Nothing is 100% because we don't know what this next candle is going to be. Nobody knows. We just don't. So we play the probabilities of saying, yes, we've got great time frame to the downside. Yes, we've got great magnitude to the downside right here. Okay, let's mark that out. Great magnitude to the downside at 43.83. And when we have all those things, it says to us that we have a high probability trade, but it's a probability. So when we have probabilities, we have risk. And to become a really great trader and a really successful trader, those traders are great risk managers. They're great at protecting their capital. They don't need 100% plays every single time. They can take those 20%, 30%, 40% plays every single time, and they can take, break even to 20% losses. And then when they hit those 176%, 180%, 100%, 80% plays, it far outweighs their small losses because they are great risk managers. And that's what I try and teach you guys. So we'll move on here. Etsy. Again, Etsy has 2 things. It has an inside bar, has a hammer candle. It does have time frame continuity to the downside. So there's a little bit of things we can play with and look at here. This would not be on my top 5 because there's too much conflict between the time frame continuity and what I see with this hammer and this inside bar. So not saying you can't take this trade, but if it does go to the downside, that's our better probability. But we do also look for this 2 up on this weekly, okay? And trying to tag the top of a broadening formation. So Etsy has a little bit of imbalance there, if you want to call it that. Certain things going forward on one side and certain things going forward on the other side. We're going to move to eBay. eBay's got a double inside bar as well, so we know we just talked about those. eBay also has a hammer candle, which is a bullish pattern. And it also has great time frame continuity. So we can look for calls at $40.66 with the first targets marked out, or puts at $39.37. We're going to move into General Motors, GM. Again, inside bar, we can look for calls at $39.47, puts at $38.69. LTHM, another one of those double inside bars. There were a few of them for Tuesday. So again, we can look for calls on this at $30.61, puts at $29.40. The last time we had a double inside bar on LTHM, we can go back and easily find that because we have this blue highlight. And again, we triggered and we just fell shy of that first target. But that was a really good run from 30.60 all the way up to 31.05 on LTHM. And thinking about that, let's go back to eBay. And eBay also has that double inside bar setup. And the last time eBay had a double inside bar was back in February of this year. And how did it play out? Double inside bar on eBay. And if we go here, there it is. And again, this one was not great. And that's the probability game, guys. Should it have worked out really well? Yeah, probabilities say yes. But did it? Okay, double inside bar. We barely broke that trigger and then came back. And that was it. That's all we got out of it. So, again, it's the probabilities. And people say, what am I doing wrong? Why are these trades not working out? It has nothing to do with you. Zero to do with you. It's the probability, and a high probability play just happened not to work out, and we can't say anything else except for that. We'll move on to Apple. Apple is a really nice setup here with this inside bar. We can look for calls at 139.15, puts at 135.67, and magnitude to both sides looks really, really great on Apple. Airbnb has a 2-up finish red, so we can look for puts at 93.28. Time frame continuity full to the downside. Amazon, same thing. Inside bar, full time frame to the downside, so puts at 89.04. You can still take the calls at 92.10 though. Chewy, again, inside bar, hammer candle, calls at 35.46, puts at 32.75. And if you guys missed it, Powerball. Subscribe, click on the thumb, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're commenting. I'm going to share my money with you, but you need to do that for me, okay? CRM inside bar, calls 144.93, puts 138.77. Disney, 2-up red, we'll look for puts at 98.99. Targets marked out for you guys. 2 down green on DraftKings with a hammer candle, okay? And DraftKings we're at the lows here, man. I mean, it gets a little bit lower down here to the 986, but we are left with this hammer candle and a 2 down green. So I want to look for this reversal back to the upside, and I want to look for calls at 1188 on DraftKings. We'll move into DocuSign. DocuSign has an inside bar, so we look for calls at 42.77, puts at 40.15. And again, guys, we're talking options here. You can take common shares on this to the upsides. I don't want you shorting common shares, okay? Unless you're super comfortable and you know what you're doing with it. Otherwise, I don't want you doing it. EW, 2-up red. We'll look for puts at 68.23. And look, full time frame continuity to the downside. And we've got pretty good magnitude as well to that first target at 67.37. We'll move to Fubo. Fubo with an inside bar. We can look for calls at 356, puts at 336 on Fubo. Marvel, not something I normally put on here, but we have an inside bar, and we've got time frame continuity to the downside. We are inside on the week, looking to trigger to the downside. So we'll see how Marvel plays out this week, but we can start with puts at 38.47 if we hit it. I wouldn't be taking calls to the upside on Marvel. That's just me. MU has an inside bar, hammer candle, time frame continuity outside of the year to the upside. Inside bar, the 2 pink lines. If we trigger to the upside and hit targets, we are 2 up on the week. If we trigger to the downside and hit targets, we are 2 down on the week. So pay attention to MU on Tuesday. Pinterest, inside bar, again, full time frame continuity, straight down. Puts at 22.05. First target's marked out for you. Plug Power, 3-1 setup. Okay, so these 3-1 setups are powerful. They don't happen very often. We can go back to the last one back in September of 26. Triggered and targets. Okay, and that's all we can ask for. It did exactly what it said it was going to do. Triggered and targets. Okay, that's on Plug Power. Let me zoom into that so we can actually get a line on what we're looking at. There we go. We are already 2 down on the quarterly. That's what that purple line is. Let's look for a continuation. Okay, full time frame to the downside. Puts at 14.42. Calls at 15.23. higher probability play is definitely on the put side. Target a 3-1 setup as well. And again, great time frame to the downside. Inside bar, puts at 158, calls at 161.41. Then we go to Shopify with this inside bar and time frame continuity again to the downside outside of the quarterly. Calls at 32.93, puts at 31.46. Guys, I hope this stuff is helpful for you. And if it is, please give me a thumbs up. And make sure you're watching at the end of the video. I give you playlists. In the top right, I'm going to give you a gap playlist. So if any of these setups gap outside of the trigger, high or low, then you know how to play the gaps in the morning. The bottom right, I'm going to give you a playlist for beginner tools to learn this stuff more in depth. And then there's also an FOMC video. And again, guys, 1.9 billion Powerball tonight. If you guys are playing it, good luck. If you've subscribed, if you've clicked the thumb, give me a like. If you've commented, if you're part of the Griswold Gold membership, you guys are in to be shared. We're going to share that $1.9 billion winnings with you guys. I'm here to do that for you guys, to teach you, to learn and earn together. Get it on the Discord. Make sure you're watching those playlists at the end of the video. Immerse yourself in this stuff, guys. Learn it. Grow. Study. Just put everything you have into this for 6 months, and you will become a better trader, I promise you. Good luck trading on Tuesday, guys. Good luck in the Powerball. Get in on the Discord. Watch those playlists at the end, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.